Alright, let's get going again. This is 4-1 still. It's the second piece, but it's now trig antiderivatives. And so we're going to basically kind of review some trig derivatives and then antiderivatives as well. On the left-hand side here, you can very clearly see that if I took the derivative of sine with respect to x, I get cosine, and then derivative of cosine, I get negative sine, and so on. These are things that you should know. You have to know. There's obviously no formula sheet or reference sheet. But if I am going to go backwards, okay, and say take the antiderivative of cosine of x. So now the antiderivative of cosine of x, so like here, okay, that means I'm going back and getting sine. All right. Now the sine x is a little tricky because I have negatives, right? So technically the derivative of cosine is negative sine, but there's no negative here, so I got to account for that and say then, well, then it's cosine of. Oh, I remember I got a plus c. Oof, almost forgot. Almost like failed the test. So you got a negative there. Secant squared, that's just tan x, right? Plus c. Cosecant squared, again, we got that negative sign, so this is going to be negative cotangent of x plus some c. Secant tan, that's just going to be regular secant x plus some c. Now cosecant x, cotangent x, because there's a negative now, I got to have a negative cosecant. Cosecant of x plus some c. Okay, great. You got to memorize those. Have fun. Good luck. Come some examples. We got 4 examples here, and there's only 1 page of notes. Man, this is going to be a fast video. Hopefully between commercial segments of the baseball game that I'm watching. So some examples here. We go. What I want to do is I want to convert this to maybe saying it's sine x over cosine of x times 1 over cosine of x, and that's all multiplied by a dx there. And so this is going to be tangent, right? That's tangent of x. 1 over cosine of x is secant of x, so times secant of x. So now I have a different function, or it looks to be different functions than what I started with, even though it's the same thing. And so the antiderivative of tangent x times secant x is just secant x plus c. Cotangent x sine x. Now this one, again, doesn't make any sense, right? Because this isn't one of our trig identities. But cotangent is regular cosine over sine times sine x dx. So these are going to cancel. So really it's the antiderivative of cosine x dx, which is equal to sine of x plus c, right? If I took the derivative of sine, I get cosine. So there we go. This last one here is really just going to go straight left to right. So the antiderivative of secant squared is tangent x. The antiderivative of sine x is a negative. Oops, negative. Oh, where am I getting? Oh man. Tangent of x, negative cosine of x. And then I already have a minus cosecant squared. So now I'm going to have a plus a cotangent of x and then plus some c. Because this was already a minus, then it goes to positive. This was a plus, that's why it went to a minus with the c's. This one here is, what do I want to do with this? Well, I don't really want to do anything. Let's see, what do I want to do? Well, I might as well, I guess, multiply it through. So this is just negative secant x tan x plus cosine of x, and all that's dx'd. All right, and then secant x tan x is just going to be negative secant x, secant x, plus your sine x, okay, because derivative of sine is cosine, right, and then plus some c. So you might have to manipulate some of your trig identities or your trig formulas around, but for the most part, it's not too bad. Again, you should have done this already last year, so on to the next one. Deuces my gooses.